Now let us look at the second scenario, which the postgraduate students find the supervisor is demanding. You will see some students complaining that the supervisor keep on asking for papers. That means the supervisor requesting or encouraging the students to publish their works in journals, in conference papers, and so on and so forth. Some supervisors even encourage the students to participate in the innovations competitions, sending the students here and there, hoping the students can win some awards from the competitions. Now let us look into this matter. First, you might want to ask, is it compulsory for a postgraduate students to produce papers during the postgraduate studies? Is it a part of the requirements of a typical university requesting for the papers? The answer is no. If you look at the mechanism of the postgraduate studies, there will be two major assessments. First, it will be the proposal defense. The students will need to pass the proposal defense in order to proceed with the postgraduate studies. The second, it will be the submissions of thesis and viva. The students will need to pass the viva in order to pass the postgraduate study. Having the research work being published in any of the papers, it will be the bonus additionals to the postgraduate studies. Technically, publishing papers is not something must have by the students, but it is something which is good to have. It is totally understandable when there are resistance from the students in trying to publish papers, even though continuously being encouraged by the supervisors. The students find publishing papers difficult, lacking confidence, and the students do not like rejections, especially when you do not have sufficient experience in publishing papers. It normally starts with a lot of rejections. When the papers is being rejected, it is as if wasting the time of the students, as all the previous effort has went into vain. Now, knowing that publishing paper is not the standard requirements by a typical university, however, you need to know the fact that many universities are actually encouraging the students to publish their research work during their postgraduate studies. Some require at least 2 papers, some probably require at least 1 papers. It is now in many universities non-written requirements demanding the students to have papers to be published, or at least attempt of submitting the papers before their vivas. Have you ever wondered why? What is the fundamental reason behind all this? Probably you may answer, it is because the supervisor and the university want the scores. This could be one of the reasons here. But you can always think from the positive side. Publishing a paper can also be a training ground to you, helping you to quickly gain experience in producing good academics papers. Many students may feel that being rejected means that the effort has been wasted, which from the perspective of your supervisor, this is normal, and it is actually a training for you to know your problems, for you to know that you're not there yet, for you to know that there are rooms of improvements, so that you can improve further from there. Therefore, don't take this as a pressure. You should consider this as a challenge. It is especially for you who intend to stay in the academic field. This is your best training ground, and this is the best period that you can gain sufficient experience going through all the process of publishing a paper. Imagine that you have successfully published several papers. That means you have gone through the entire process of publishing your papers. You know the process, what to do first, what to do next. What are the areas of attentions by the reviewers? What are the common comments given by the reviewer for you to improve your technical writings? If you have gained sufficient experience when you enter the academic field, you will have no problem with the writings. Therefore, you can take this as a training ground for you to improve yourself in terms of how to carry out the research and also how to produce good academic writings. Another advantage of having your papers to be published, it will be you are getting the free comments from the reviewers. You can always try the journals papers that do not charge the article processing fees. There are many journals papers in the market. They accept papers for free. They open to everyone to submit the paper as long as the topics are within their scopes. And normally there will be reviewing process. The reviewer will look into the quality of your papers, give comments and suggestions, and then eventually the comments and suggestions will return to you and tells you the outcome, whether the paper has been accepted, whether there are any revisions involved, or what are the reasons that your papers are being rejected. You will have a good third-person opinion, and these third persons are normally professionals. They are typically academicians who are well experienced in the research field, and normally they will give you constructive comments, critical comments, and useful suggestions. You can take this as a process of trying and error for you to have ideas that whether there are any flaws in terms of your research design for your postgraduate studies. By trying to submit your papers to the journals, receiving the comments from the reviewer, you will have early notice regarding the problems with your research before you have yourself entering the viva. Let's say now you have tried several rounds of submitting the papers. It is regardless that your papers is being accepted or being rejected. You will know what are the good things about your research, and you will also know where are the areas that you need to do improvements. Then you can rectify along the way while carrying out your research, so that you will do well during your viva presentations later. Let's say now you have only one supervisor. It is inevitable that there could be some blind spot, that both of you have accidentally overlooked that. The easiest way for you to get the third person opinion, it will be through submissions to the journals papers. The comments are normally custom made to your research, and this will help you to improve your qualities, and you can consider those reviewer as the ad hoc supervisor or examiner to get yourself well prepared for your final submissions of your thesis and viva presentations. You can also consider to join conferences during your postgraduate studies. Normally, you will need to pay to join the conferences. Typically, during the conferences, you will need to present your papers. There will be a group of audience listening to your presentations. You will take this opportunity to learn how to present technical papers in front of the audience. And normally there will be question and answer sections. You will also have this kind of opportunity to know what are the typical questions being asked by the academicians. This is also a very good training grounds to you, not only to practice your presentations, also to know the response of the audience. You can take those audience as the experiment to your presentations. And then during the conference, there are other presenters. You may also observe how the other presenters present their papers, learn their techniques, learn the way they do their slides, learn their research topic, learn how they carry out the research. This is also a good learning ground. And you may also observe the audience asking questions during the Q&A sections. Learn what kind of questions a typical examiner will ask when it comes to the research topics. Now, if you have inquiry related to the research topic being presented, you can be one of the person also asking the questions. You can seek for clarifications if you have something not fully understood. You can learn from the good things of the presenters. You may also learn from the mistakes of the presenters. This is also a good experience for the postgraduate students to join the conferences. Another good thing about the conferences is that the conferences normally is being carried out for several days. They gather academicians from all the universities. They gather the researcher within the similar research field. They provide a platform for you to have networks among the researchers. The participants involve the lecturers, postgraduate students, and also industrial practitioners. You can take this opportunity to learn from the other scholars if you know they are doing similar research topic as yours. There will be times that you can discuss with each other, and you can take the initiative to ask the questions from the other participants. Based on my personal experience, they are more than happy to help you out. I remember when I did my postgraduate studies, I realized that I have difficulty of something which I cannot acquire the answer from my supervisor, as both of us are still looking for solutions and answers. Then during the conference, I noticed a lecturer from overseas presenting similar topics. Out of desperate, I went to seek his advice. The lecturer was very nice and very eager to teach and share his knowledge. That was my first time encouraging myself and seek help and advice from somebody that I do not know. After that, whenever I have opportunity to attend trainings or conferences, I will take this kind of advantage to seek advice from experienced people. This will shorten a lot of time that I spend in finding the solutions for certain problems. Another good thing about attending conferences, from the perspective of the postgraduate students, it is a good platform for you to promote yourself and get yourself noticed in the research community and probably the academic field. Let's say in future you intend to pursue a career in the academic field. While attending the conferences, you have the opportunity to do presentations in front of the audience. The audience are basically the participants for the conferences. There will be lecturers, industrial practitioners, and also postgraduate students like you. Now, if you are getting yourself well prepared for the presentations, you do a good presentations, impressive research, and during the Q&A sections, you demonstrate your good understanding related to the research topic. This leads to good impressions among the audience. This may bring to you the opportunity in future career, especially when they are scouting for new talents. Personally, when I did my postgraduate studies, I had similar experiences. After I done the presentations, there was a person coming from the industry. He introduced himself knowing that he came from a renowned company. I didn't know him. Even now I cannot recall his name. He mentioned to me that my presentation was quite okay, and then he invited me to consider to apply a post in his company. This was quite an encouragement to me. It helped me to gain a lot of confidence. There was another case, similar. I did my presentations. I thought I was doing quite okay. Everything goes smoothly. And then after that, somebody came and approached me. He was the deputy dean of one of the university. He was impressed with the way that I did the presentations. I was so happy to hear that. And then he gave me some recommendations and comments to further improve my presentations. I took it humbly. He also mentioned to me that doing the postgraduate studies should not only focus on reading the relevant topics. I need to read more articles and journals beyond the field that I am studying, as I would never know those articles may have been useful to me in the future. That was quite a good comment to me. Even today, I can still remember his point. After that, he also encouraged me to consider applying a post in his university. Again, this was a good encouragement to me. Now at the end of the story here, I did not actually went to apply any job from that respective company and also the university. Probably after I have finished my postgraduate study, they might not be able to fully recall who am I, but at least this gave me good experience and it really boosted my confidence. If you are ambitious enough, especially towards the ends of your postgraduate studies, you can take that opportunity to promote yourself. Probably as the outcome of this, you manage to secure your dream jobs. Now joining the conferences, if you really take full advantage of it, it is going to be very helpful to your research, to your growth, and probably giving you a higher chance to be employed. Not only it provides platform for you to train yourself in terms of the presentations, you also take it as an opportunity to build up your confidence. Now, if you do not take full advantage of it, hoping just to get rid of it, feel like being forced to attend the conferences, you can simply join the conference, present your papers, and then go home. Probably you will not gain anything. Now this is the method, how to look at yourself joining conferences. Coming back to the point, when your supervisor always asks for the paper, you can consider it as a challenge. This is not an easy task indeed, especially you are still learning, exploring the suitable methods to carry out the research. You can take this as a training to you, doing the trial and errors, helping you to improve the qualities of your papers, your thesis, or your academic writings. All this will have to come with practice. Don't worry about the rejections from the respective journals papers or conference papers. Normally, conferences will not reject your paper. There is high chance of you having your paper rejected by the journals. As for the conference, you might feel uncomfortable presenting in front of the audience. There may be some questions that you cannot answer during the Q&A sections. Don't feel embarrassed. The participants know that you are a postgraduate student. They know you are taking this platform to learn. It is okay if you can learn from your mistakes. Now you need to know what you want out of this process. I remember myself when I did my postgraduate study, also attending one conference. After I did my presentations, there was a Q&A section. An engineer stood up. He was from the industry. He commented something, pointing out the problem where we do all the experiments in the laboratory, but never actually consider the problems in the industry. We assume the problem in the industry and we try to find the solutions based on our assumptions. In fact, that was not the problem of the industry, and we did not actually solve the problem in the industry. You can imagine the feelings when you receive this kind of comment on your research. You have to take it positively and learn along the process. Now the point here is rejections, criticism. Those are very normal in the academic community. This is part of the process to regulate the quality of the research as well as the qualities of the papers. It is only we have this kind of mechanism, the research community will improve. You need to know the fact that even the professors have their papers rejected. There is no guarantee that a professor will have his paper accepted every time he submits a paper. Now you can take this as a mechanism to monitor your progressions. At the early stage, you will find your paper, after so many rejections, finally acquire one acceptance. As you improve yourself, gain better proficiency, now the numbers of rejections will reduce. Then you know that you have improved accordingly, but you will not expect yourself totally without any rejections. Sometimes when you have your papers published, don't be too proud of yourself. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are extremely good. You will have to look into yourself in terms of the consistency and the ability to publish the following papers. Sometimes it may be due to your luck. That just happened that your paper meet the requirement. Now if you need to produce another paper of equivalent quality, you are unable to. That means you still haven't found the right ways to produce good papers. This will have to come with regular practice. The more you practice, the more proficient you are. When I look back my papers that has been published during my postgraduate studies, I can see a significant difference in terms of the quality. I thought I was quite okay during then. However, along the way, I realized that I can make the paper even better. This should not stop yourself from continuously improve yourself. Now answering to these questions, what you should do when your supervisor is so demanding and always ask for the paper. First, you need to have a good mentality, accept the challenge, consider this as a training, and try your best, gain the most out of it so that you can improve yourself. It is good, in fact, your supervisor asking you to produce paper. Having the papers published during the postgraduate studies, it builds up your portfolio. After you graduated, if you would like to join in the academic field, those published papers, it will be a part of your CV while applying for a job in the university. And don't worry about the rejections. As a postgraduate student, you will not expect yourself to have your papers published without any rejections. The more important part as a postgraduate study, it will be the process. It is not the outcome. The process of producing papers, the process of submitting papers, the process of receiving the comments from the reviewers, the process of improving your papers, and then the process of post-editing before the papers is finally published. I will encourage you to at least go through one cycle of this process during your postgraduate study get to know the mechanism and find some way to improve yourself.